You're watching the Chaos Protocol on Transplanar RPG, an all-transgender, people of color-led dark fantasy TTRPG show set in an original non-colonial, anti-Orientalist multiverse. If you like what you see, please consider pledging to our Patreon to support the show and get access to a patron-only after-show, early podcast episodes, GM notes, character sheets, and even the chance for your tabletop OC to cameo in our series. Thank you so much for watching, and enjoy. The Chaos Protocol is a dark fantasy series that may contain content that is triggering for some viewers. Content warnings for this episode include death of loved ones, fantasy violence, blood, gore, sudden falling, car crashes, sinkholes, complex relationships, conflict between loved ones, romance, grief, physical immobilization, apocalypse, guns as weaponry, and references to sex. Arc 3, Episode 31. The Hunter Calls Out. From Praying Beside the Teeth That Killed Me by Connie Chang. Praying beside the teeth that killed me. But the rage is still here. Entombed. Alive. Salting to ash, the road you've survived. Your heart is a city that bleeds and bleeds, with buildings of bone and dark, sanguine streets. The unholy witness to the sun that we dread, from tenuous depths, in a coffin of lead. The light shall not follow. The blood will not run. O pity, O sorrow, her will come undone. The water is calling, the flesh goes unfed, impaled on the thorn, twice bitten, now dead. Beg for the spirits who shiver and weep. No hunger, no mercy, no heart shall you keep. The sword falls sharp against dying doom. Curtains last rise to watch souls bloom. The chorus wavers. The death of death flees. The hunter calls out. A singing moon bleeds. Strike Team Nova. You tumble onto the grass, surrounded by a storm of shattered glass and dizzying streaks of light from stars and street lamps. You roll, stumble, and catch yourselves. Lumièra's liminal has bought you a precious but finite advantage, a head start. But nothing in this world or any other is ever that easy. And now, you sense it. A tensing of the air around you. It is subtle, it is crimson, and it is undeniable. As agents of the Syndicate, you have been trained from the very beginning to sense when things in the journey go awry. Your missions have always been to carry out fate's will to ensure that the threads of reality's grand tapestry are woven into their proper place. But now, you have not only disobeyed your mission objective, you have snapped the red bindings of fate herself. You have rewritten Seir's doom. You have communed with magic, who is not supposed to appear here. And you have spun chronergy around the second strike team present in this plane, whose purpose is to shepherd you home. You can sense that the fabric of reality that holds Inferno together is starting to come undone. You've seen this before, briefly, in the Wild Sea. And while the journey can survive some strain, after all, you, as agents, put pressure on it simply by existing, this is bad. This is too much. So to that end, I am creating a clock called Entropy. This clock has 8 wedges. And the longer your party stays in Inferno, the more wedges I will tick. And for each tick, more pressure will be added to the fabric of this plane's reality. Your trespasses here are a slow but steady strain against Inferno's seams, and if you do not find a way off this plane soon, that clock will come to fruition, and there will be dire fucking consequences. You are like a lighthouse calling oblivion home. There is blood in the water, and you need to staunch this bleeding. So I am going to tick one wedge right now as your party staggers to your feet. The light dusting of snowfall underneath you is already beginning to melt, as though the pressure you're exuding on this world had a physical heat. Yinghe staggers upward, hair falling into their face that they quickly brush aside. What the? This isn't good, right?
We're unraveling the journey.
What?
We have to go, all of us, together, and stop everything as fast as we can. Together, right?
Right, together.
One door.
One door.
Let's go.
We have to be smart about this.
Agreed. And Nova, you start to book it. Rhododendron. You had noticed the new arrivals at the ICMA, had seen them approach House Nova, had witnessed the looks of shock and familiarity on the faces of your retainers. No, your companions. No, your friends. There was no threat vibrating through the threads of the web around you. No imminent violence or fear, just an emotion that you yourself are now finally able to speak out loud on your own terms. Concern, understanding, hope. What you did not expect was Seir suddenly tackling these newcomers to the ground, Lumièra suspending them in a frozen clockwork bubble, Yinghe throwing a priceless statue through the windows of your museum, and Nova hurtling themselves outside as though their second lives depended on it. There are gasps all around you, screaming, shouting. Attendees are clustering around this blown open aperture and staring with wide eyes and open mouths at the vampires suspended inside that strange, translucent shimmer. In this moment of chaos and opportunity, what compels you to follow House Nova?
It's love. Throughout all of this time that they have been together, Ro has come to love Nova. They have been there for Rem this entire time. They have stood by them even when they didn't have to, even when there was no real good reason to. But they did. And they are my friends. So I'm gonna go see what's going on. And I think it was in the middle of like a dance with Diablo that all of this had happened. And so I think Ro puts a hand gently on Diablo's chest and says, I think I need to see what's going on. Something tells me they need our help.
Think so too. Go. Look, I'll deal with... And we see Diablo gesture toward the frozen Strike Team Phoenix inside that soap bubble.
Yeah, thank you. And then Ro whips around and jumps out of that gaping hole in the window that Yinghe had created in the ICMA.
You leap out with that same spidering grace you've always embodied, and in a few short strides, you are able to catch up to House Nova as they're booking it across the lawn.
There is a flash in Ro's yellow eyes as they look at all three of you. I think there's a quick scan to make sure that none of you are like physically hurt. And then they say, what's going on? Who are those people? And why did you attack them?
It's a lot.
We're in trouble.
Trouble? What kind of trouble?
Big trouble. Trouble that can end a lot of things. Trouble that we need to get out of here.
Trouble that followed us here, Ro.
And the longer we stay, the longer Inferno itself is in danger.
Okay. And I think we're having this conversation as we're running through
Yes.
the
Yeah.
streets of Inferno. Like,
Definitely.
there is just like shoes against the pavement, against concrete. Okay. You said it followed you here. From where exactly?
Oh, you're not gonna like this. We're not from here.
That
And Xainan
I know.
looks at Ro longer than just, oh, we're from out of town. We're from, you know when you look in a mirror? Do you ever have that moment where you wonder if that's actually you, or another you, or an infinite possibility of you?
I haven't been able to look in a mirror for quite some time. But...
Right, you're right. We're from another time, another place, another multiverse, another plane.
There is a look of confusion and surprise that goes across Rhododendron's face, and I think if they had not just seen Lumièra literally put Strike Team Phoenix in a liminal, a word that they don't know at this point in time, but if they had not literally seen Lumièra do time magic, I don't think that they would have believed you. But given everything that has happened and given everything that they've seen, I think they go, okay, and they're trying to process it really quickly because they understand that you need to get out of here at this point, and there is not enough time in the world for that. And so they, okay, so when you say that you came from another place and you need to not be here, you mean like you need to...
Yeah, you know how it... Did it ever strike you as odd how we just appeared here? Out of
Yes,
nowhere. I
of
mean,
course.
like... But no, seriously, as someone who knows this plane, this city, very well, intricately, how have we never come across your periphery until just a few weeks ago?
And I think Ro thinks about it for a second as we're running through Inferno, and they realize that they had never really interrogated or scrutinized that very much. They had always known that Nova was lying about the fact that they have always been here and lying about where they're coming from. There had always been a hole in the story there. But Ro had never bothered prying about it, had never really scrutinized that very much. But now, thinking about it, everything starts to unravel the way that the reality of Inferno is starting to unravel. It's unraveling in Ro's mind as well. And they look wide-eyed. How do we get you out?
We had a way out, but that is no longer an option, so we're gonna have to improvise.
Seir?
I need time. That's what I really need. I just need enough time to open the right door.
Time I can do.
We need to keep them off of us, but Rhododendron, please don't kill them.
Okay.
Please.
Okay. And you can see that there is no deception in those words. Ro means it. If you need them alive, then we'll waylay them and give you time. But... And Ro stops for a beat. I wish that you could all stay. Is there no way for you to stay, for us to hide you somewhere?
Look at this. You don't feel it in the air? Every additional second we are here, this becomes undone. All of our hard work, gone.
That tension's not a lightning storm.
It is the actual fabric of the journey. Shredding.
And you are all using words that Ro doesn't have context for. The journey, any of it. But they take it in and they can see this, they can feel the weight, the gravity of your words. And they understand that you can't stay, as much as Ray would really like it if you did.
Bro,
And so-
listen. We are making a choice. I am making a choice. You asked me all those weeks ago. What do I want to do? This. I want to protect these people around me. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to do that. And that's all we've ever wanted for you. Is for you to make the choices that you want to make. To have that freedom and to have all the knowledge and information you need to make that choice. We've done that. And we love this place. But it's your place. It's not for us. Not right now.
Then let us help. Let us help. You love this place. And I speak for myself, but I'm sure that others would agree. We love you too. And Ro stops and like holds the three of you back. I think like pulling you to a halt just for a moment. Says, thank you. Thank you, all of you, for everything that you've done. Xainan, Mr. Esch, I offered you a place in House Thakrar and you were snatched up by the bears, but I can see that you really fit in there with them. And you've done so much, not just for me and for my house, but for them too.
I'm just grateful you didn't throw us out on our asses that day we met. You've
How could I?
woven us into your web, and I will be forever grateful.
I think Anugata has a gash in their bike that will remind them of that.
Yeah.
And Ro quickly takes Xainan into a hug. Only for a second. And then let's go.
Xainan doesn't let them push back. He holds Ray tight. For all of their pacing around each other like predator animals. Xainan respects Rhododendron and respects not just the hug, but every move, every deft weaving of the web. And then he gives one firm squeeze before stepping back.
And Ro stumbles backwards and sees Lumièra. Where I stand now, I was right. It did cost me everything. It did. But I was wrong about one thing. And it was worth it. You were right. You said that love is the thing that pushes you forward. You were right. So thank you for that. You know, if me and you are not so different, then... And Ro's eyes flit over to the rest of House Nova. Then I hope you'll keep them close.
And Lumièra smiles at that genuinely, like kind of playfully nudges your shoulder a bit. I knew you could do it. But keep one thing in mind. And she looks back at Nova and then back to you as well. You will never fail if every move you make is for them.
Ro takes that in, like really takes it in this time. You are always one step ahead of everyone. You know that?
I mean, I'm kind of smart, but and she kind of shrugs it off and plays at it, but you can tell it's genuine appreciation and gratefulness in her tone as well.
And Ro reaches out for Lumièra's hand, that golden one that used to be rotted is no longer rotted, is Lumièra. Holds it and squeezes it so tight. Okay, and then steps back and looks at Seir. Thank you as well. Thank you for protecting your house and for protecting mine. Really, I didn't trust you at first.
I don't blame you.
You went straight to the Laniuses and I just... Well, I figured you had some sort of loyalty to them or something. I didn't trust you at first. But you have always been there for Yara, for me, for our house, and for Lanius, and for Tavash. You've just always been there. And I wouldn't have agreed with myself when you first arrived, but that is a wonderful thing that you did.
Seir looks at you, and you see the veneer of a single tear brimming on his right eye that he doesn't let drop. He closes the distance between the two of you and says very quietly, "You and Yara love each other. You are bound by more than just blood. Never let that go. Even for a moment. Even for a heartbeat. Don't let each other go." And you see it now. A pain that you would know. A pain that maybe you felt when you lost Astor.
And if only we had more time. If only any of us had more time. Ro wants to dig into these things, into each other, wants to know you, wants you to know them, and there's just not enough time. So Ro steps back, says, "Thank you all so much."
At that, Yinghe steps forward, and they actually take one of your hands in both of theirs, and they say to you with those moon-bright silver eyes beaming into yours, "Rhododendron, when I first met you, I thought you looked really sad. Just really sad. And I didn't know why, and eventually we found out, and we learned the reason behind that. And when I first met you, you felt really still to me, too, like a spider in the center of a web, unmoving. I mean, don't get me wrong, you were weaving, you were doing all the things you needed to do to prepare for the bloodbath tonight and everything else, but it kind of felt like you were weaving along someone else's web, or in a way someone else has showed you without ever doing it your own way. So now, I guess I know how it feels to step off a path, or rather for a path to just abruptly end and there's nowhere else for you to go. And it's really scary, Ro, I'm not gonna lie. It's the most terrifying thing I've ever faced. But it's also really freeing. And I just know, you will weave beautiful things. If you just take a risk. If you just give yourself the chance to fly.
Thank you, Yinghe. Thank you. You... I think you have a lot of... not quite untapped, but unnoticed potential.
You can say untapped too, I would agree with that.
I just get the sense that people haven't let you be you just yet. Fully.
I haven't let me explore what I could be until I came here, really. I came here for Seir, But I also came here for Nova. And now I have so many more reasons, in addition to just Seir, to be here, to do this.
And I want you all to be able to do whatever it is that you're doing, whatever it is, however you're helping. You said that you were helpers. You protected me and my house, so let me protect you and yours now. Let me return the favor tonight. Like I said, Inferno loves you. And we will rally behind you tonight. We will waylay the others. And we'll give you time.
Thank you, Rhododendron. A shadow flutters above your heads as the 5 of you are stalled here at the end of a street. It is a small and very familiar shadow to all of you at this point. We see the wings of a carrion crow expand over Xainan's eyes, and Dante caws, lets out a circling above, low and slow, with every circle coming lower and lower. And Xainan, you see those beady black eyes peering down, and we see reflected on the surface of those beady black eyes the silver cherry blossom necklace around your neck. That's what it's looking at.
Xainan looks to Ro, looks to Nova, and can feel the air getting tighter and tighter. And he looks up to Dante and whistles to call him down a little closer. And when he raises his hand, he stops at his chest and pulls. He pulls that cherry blossom necklace from around his neck. And as he does, you can see beads of metal kind of falling off, like the chain itself was shattered in the effort, but they're gold. And the cherry blossom is on a silver necklace. And in his hand, he lifts 2 charms where there was one, a cherry blossom, silver, and a golden pendant of a black carrion bird, a raven. And he holds it up. Come on. You know where this goes.
Dante swoops down and in a flash of his beak snatches both pendants out of your hand, an acceptance of this gift you're giving him, and just like that, leaving a single long tail feather fluttering down past your hat behind. He's gone.
Xainan grabs the feather, puts it in his coat. All right.
Come, Nova. I'll take point. Like we always do. On me.
Nova. As Dante flutters away with twin necklaces flashing in his beak, and as Ro splits off to rally Inferno in their own way, you find yourselves in the middle of a busy city street. Towering buildings reach toward the night sky above your heads, the burning lights of street lamps reflecting off of their mirror black walls. Pedestrians stride down wide, shaded sidewalks. Buses stall impatiently at stoplights, inching forward on massive wheels, eager to peel rubber at the first indication of green. A train groans to a stop at an outdoor station, pneumatics hissing as metallic doors fold open. You smell the city in its full, unabashed glory. Rubber and smoke, old rain and concrete. The sounds are overwhelming. The colors, too. Chattering, honking, reds, greens, dialects and diatribes bleeding together to form the vast, dizzying, beautiful cacophony that is Inferno. As you continue to run, your feet pound against the concrete of the sidewalk, and Yanhuan glances worriedly at you, Lumièra. How much longer do you think that liminal is going to hold?
It's been a while, so it's probably not as strong as it typically would be.
And then you feel it, Lumièra. Something bursting, popping. It doesn't hurt, but it's gone.
I think in the middle of it, she's like, it's been a while, so it's probably not and it's gone. We have to go. Faster!
All of you pick up your pace even more, darting past pedestrians, winding past mopeds that are impatiently taking the sidewalk instead of staying in the bike lane. And that is when the world starts to bend. There is a shaking. There is a trembling of the very earth itself beneath your feet. And Nova, at this point, you are at an intersection when this happens, a four-way crossing with traffic flowing in both directions on all sides. It's a really, really big urban crossing. And just as the light turns green and all the cars start to go, the asphalt in the middle of this intersection falls away. One moment it's there, the next, gone. A gaping black chasm like the throat of a hungry god yawns open 3 car lengths wide, and then another chunk of the street falls, and then another, and cars are slamming on their brakes. Trucks are blaring their horns. More than one vehicle collides into another as they swerve to avoid this sudden, rapacious sinkhole, and the chasm is growing wider and wider, more and more slabs of concrete and stone and iron falling and falling and falling, and Lumièra, you, at the edge of Nova's formation, you feel it. The ground beneath your feet gives way as a fault line cracks open in the middle of your party and you start to free fall.
I think at that moment, Lumièra kind of, as soon as she feels it, she yelps and tries to jump at the same time to kind of get a leg up in that regard, but I think her yelp is loud enough to startle Nova as she drops.
Lumièra.
Seir listens to your footfalls. He listens to your heartbeat, your breaths, and the second that your breath hitches to yelp, he spins on his ankles and launches himself down onto the hole and grabs your hand. Vera,
Help me up.
I got you. I got you. And he pulls you up and holds you. As soon as your upper body is above the hole, he grabs you by your lower waist, so he stabilizes you there.
Thank you.
Always.
Nova!
Oh!
Voice comes from behind your party, and then you see them strike Team Phoenix. They stand at the end of this block, witnessing this cratering sinkhole, which continues to splinter and grow. Amaru and Cove are staring at this scene in abject shock, their eyes wide, their gazes fixed on Seir and Lumièra, touching. Naeem is the first to rouse himself, to start picking his way toward you from the opposite side of this sinkhole. There is confusion on all of Strike Team Phoenix's faces. Shock, surprise, bewilderment, and the very first inklings of hurt and betrayal. They have no idea what's going on, why you ran from them, why you are doing this in the first place, but as they draw closer, all of you sense it again, the tensing of reality around yourselves, another pound of pressure against the fabric of Inferno, and I'm going to tick one more wedge. We are at 2 out of 8. You need to get out of here now, fast, before more people get hurt. Look at these cars piling up, before your presence causes even more destruction. There is no time to stop and talk like this. How do you try to shake Phoenix? In terms of where you are physically, Lumièra and Seir and Yanhuan are on one side of the sinkhole. Xainan, you are 10 feet across on the other side of a fault line.
Go. I'll catch up.
Split up and rendezvous.
Yeah.
Heard.
Archway.
Fair.
Right. Be safe.
Always. You too.
See you there.
All right,
And Xainan
all 4 of you. Yeah, are you
turns.
splitting in opposite directions? Okay.
Yeah.
Xainan, you turn and you book it down one street. Lumièra, you turn and you book it down another. Seir, you go down another. Yinghe goes down a fourth. All four of you are splitting completely different directions. And there's a moment as Phoenix stalls, as we see on their faces, they weren't expecting you to split up, but then the ground shakes again. More of the concrete falls away. More of the earth is swallowed up by the thing underneath the earth, the nothing, the abyss, the emptiness. And Naeem goes, I've got Xainan! And leaps across this 10-foot crevasse, lands on the other side, keeps the momentum going, books it after you, Esch. And Cove goes, ugh! Amaru! Jerks her head toward Amaru, toward Seir. And Amaru nods. Amaru turns and books it toward Seir, while Cove goes after Lumièra. And we see Ash, those steely pale eyes flick and turn onto Yinghe, and they go silently like a fucking assassin, like death and murder in Ash's eyes, as Yinghe looks over their shoulder and goes, oh, and you're split. So, Seir, you are trying to take a series of detours, I assume, before you rendezvous with your party back at the archway, trying to shake Amaru. What is your ploy in trying to get them off your tail?
Seir was expecting Cove. This was a miscalculation on his part. He was expecting to throw obstacles in Cove's way to slow her down because they're at pace with each other in speed, but Hendrix is more lithe, more agile, not as heavy set as Seir is. And as Seir is like ducking and weaving between city streets, he thinks of all the different training systems he's been assigned, specifically by the hand of Fate Artemis. He thinks of the weight around his ankles and chest, holding him down as he, with each weaving of an alleyway, he hops, plucks onto a... Let me take that again. He hops and grasps onto a lamppost, swinging upward to a second-story building. He runs down, and as soon as Amaru hits to the top ledge, he ducks down onto a car and ducks and weaves through different trees of a city park. He moves and weaves as if he's running through a forest, through training dummies, through the bright lights and fire and chains and broken obstacles smashing in his wake. And he thinks to himself, it's like she knew. It's like she knew from the beginning. All that training, was it really for missions? For Mayday missions? We didn't even know we were getting Mayday missions 2 months ago. Why did they train me so hard? To survive? To run? To escape those who would chase us down? And Seir grabs onto the hammered moon necklace around his neck. I promise, Artemis, I won't fail now. Nova will be safe. Patience, patience, patience. And he ducks and weaves, and I think at one point smashes through a window of an apartment building. They're screaming from residents inside as he says, sorry, and then breaks through the window on the other side to land onto a concrete slab of the sidewalk.
Seir, where you are all muscle and force and brawn, Amaru is lithe and dexterous, like a stalking tiger. Also is very muscular, don't get me wrong, but there's a kind of fluidity, a flexibility, a grace to their form that you don't particularly have. As you smash through the window of that apartment complex, Amaru just goes through the revolving door. Like just through the door and lets out a Seir! And then follows you out through the emergency exit, out on the other side, instead of out through that broken window. What do you think you're doing? What's happening? What have you done?
Seir swerves backwards and he holds his hand in a guarding stance. Hendrix, I do not have time for this. The journey is unraveling around us. I am doing what I need to do for Nova.
The journey is unraveling around us because you're unraveling it. Just come back to the Syndicate with us. What's gotten into you?
We can't do that.
And those golden eyes flash with confusion, yes, shock, yes, but something else is trickling there. an emotion you recognize very well because you wear it constantly on your face, Seir. Protectiveness. And Amaru says, like, returning your, like, kind of martial stance with one of his own holding his, like, hands up in front of his face like a kickboxer. What is going on with you and Lumièra? Because listen, 1 second, we were having breakthroughs, Seir. We were saying things to each other that I never thought we were going to say. She was opening up to me. Things were feeling good. Things were feeling right. And then you tackled me to the floor? She throws that time trap around us and now you're running? What is going on between you and Lumièra?
Seir does not know what to say. There's a moment where he bites the inside of his lip and blood runs across his teeth. I am protecting Lumièra. Can you at least trust that? Lumièra and I have known each other since we were children.
You're not the only one who cares about her! You think I'm not trying to protect her too?
Hendrix, don't make me fight you.
We both know how that's gonna end, Seir. You're good with your circuits and your sparring and your punching bags, but you've got one major weakness.
Well,
you're slow.
You were not trained by Artemis. Ah! And Seir is going to clock back his left fist and charge.
Okay, that you're gonna have to roll for that.
Yes.
What skill would you like to invoke?
I would like to evoke Wreck, please. Seir wants to disarm Amaru enough so that he can make a getaway.
Okay, sounds good. Roll for it. And you are outdoors, so the moon, which is now a waxing crescent, is indeed shining down on you.
I get another die. Let's go. That is 3d6. Let's go.
Go for it. I'm gonna say
there's this.
Your position here is risky. Your effect is standard.
Okay. I rolled a 6, a 5, and a 1.
A 6. That's good. What are you trying to do with this punch?
Seir wants to send him flying because Amaru's right. Seir is a little slow in comparison to Amaru. He's not the fastest at trance, but he is pretty darn strong. And what he does is he aims with patience to go for the face. And if he had violence, maybe he would have. But he's patient, and he last minute fakes out and then smacks Amaru right underneath the ribcage, on like in his stomach, to push the air out of him.
Yeah, you got a full success. So you kind of feint toward the face and then duck down and punch him right in the solar plexus. To Amaru Hendrix's immense credit, Z has the reflexes of a fucking tiger. Those hands that were braced up, eyes go wide, and Z immediately shifts down to like block their midsection. So Z absorbs the brunt of the blow, but they are flung back. And you punch, and they fly through the fucking air. They fly like dozens of feet, and you see them land hard against the concrete steps leading up toward the raised stone dais where the Temple of Inferno stands. This tall pagoda with multiple, like, sprawling, beautiful eaves of ceramic roof tiles, and they land at the mouth of it. And beyond it, you can see the shadowy interior, that massive shrine stacked with valuable offerings. You even see a couple of monks inside, kneeling, praying, and they all look up and turn as they see Amaru, like, slam right by the entrance. And they let on... You just fucked with the wrong person today, Seir. And as they pull themselves out of this crater, they crack their neck in one direction and the other direction, and you see beginning to unfurl out of their back, ripping through their clothes with a tearing noise, a pair of massive leathery bat wings. And that crescent moon is like a shattered half halo behind them at the very crown of the tip of the pagoda. And with another a flap of the wings, Z surges into the air, and they throw out their right hand, and we see uncollapsing in their hand a collapsible javelin with a sharpened point, forming a golden stake.
Shit.
And Amaru dives for you. And as Amaru dives on that motion, we go to you, Lumièra. Lumièra, you're booking it. Cove is on your heels. Lumièra, wait, let's just talk this out. As she's like shoving past pedestrians bodily, like literally just forcing them aside, shoving people onto the ground.
I think Lumièra is also pretty agile herself. So I think she's like doing that high speed weaving in and out of people. I think she might have actually pushed a few toddlers and other people in the way, like to block, to kind of just put in between, because she's like absolutely fucking not. And I think...
And Cove will very like gently pick up the toddler and then like place the child off to the side, or like jump over the toddler like they're a hurdle.
Yeah, I mean, like she's not knocking them to the ground, but she's definitely like separating and pushing them back for sure. And is definitely kind of like jumping over curves and darting in and out of people. And I think just briefly, like right as she like maybe jumps over like a crater that's in the side of the street where there's like sidewalk construction at, she just kind of looks back over her shoulder and it's like, it's not supposed to be like this, but it is. I'm sorry. And just keeps running.
Oh, wait, Lumièra, I don't understand. As she continues to shove these impromptu obstacles out of the way. And Lumièra, you see up ahead a familiar sight, a place of refuge. You see up on a small mound, a hill, the Cathedral of the Weeping Saint. The cathedral that Diablo had taken you to, the cathedral where you met Tavash Lanius.
That'll have to do. And she just continues to high speed book it towards there, trying to crouch a bit amongst people so that she can kind of be camouflaged within the group as she's making her way over. You can still definitely see her because it's like a shock of white that just sits on top of her head as she tries to duck, but she definitely tries to camouflage herself.
Absolutely, yeah. As you're hiding and skulking and trying to shake Cove, why don't you give me a roll to see how much time you're able to buy yourself away from Cove as you try to sneak into the cathedral. So okay. What skill would you like to invoke?
I'd like to use maneuver, if at all
that
possible.
Makes sense. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Go for it. Position, risky, effect, standard.
Okay. 5.
Okay, yeah, partial success. That means you shake her for a bit, but she will find you at this cathedral eventually. But you can try to like hide inside the cathedral before she gets there.
I think she tries to get into the cathedral, and then like once she gets in, she kind of like finds like the first like hidden corner that she can go into, and she's just like, I have to start training more. And it's just so out of breath, but is trying her hardest to also be quiet.
I love that. Can I offer that you hide yourself behind the altar at like the very end of the aisle, and you're like behind the shrine? Okay, sure. Yeah. So you like you burst through these like huge oak double doors, and you run past these shafts of moonlight pouring through stained glass. You run past these empty pews carved from solemn wood, and you duck underneath that altar where that fated ritual was once performed by a certain architect of sorrow. And above your head, in the huge stained glass windows pouring down from the very back of the cathedral, you see murals of those animals chiseled into the glass. Bears, serpents, foxes, spiders, shrikes. And you wait there for a couple of beats, gathering your breath. And then, damn it, the doors slam open again, you hear. And you hear heavy footsteps falling as the doors creak and slam shut behind Cove. Lumièra! Lumièra, I know you're in here. Look, you don't have to run from me. I just want to talk.
I think in that moment, Lumièra, while she was trying to catch her breath, she was looking up at the stained glass of the cathedral, and her eyes stay and linger on the depiction of foxes. She, for what it's worth, loved this place. She loved that there was a group of people that took pride in what she took pride in. Her smarts, her brains. House Huyen was a home to her within her own home of Nova. That's sad. She's processing it, but I don't think it's hitting her yet. So she's kind of brought out of her own reverie when she hears Cove and is just like, and just kind of like hits the ground in it because she knows she can't run anymore. So she gets up from behind the altar. I'm not running from you. Okay, well, I kind of am running from you, but like not like that.
Okay, listen, Lumièra, whatever's going on, the patron saints can fix it. Okay?
What
Look,
can
I
a
know.
patron saint do in relation to fate? Cove, let's just be for real. Let's be honest. Let's be honest.
Okay.
I broke a rule. Fate has no other option but to put things the way that she sees fit. That's not... There's nothing we can do about that. That is her. That is naturally just the way things go. I am not natural. I'm not. I don't get to stay the way I am. If I go back, I lose Seir again. I can't... And I'm not losing Xainan either. Yinghe just got here and I'm not losing them. I'm not losing me. We can't go back. I'm sorry.
But I can't lose you, Lumièra.
Yes, you can.
No, I can't. And Cove takes a few desperate steps toward you as the
She
light.
takes a couple back.
Yeah, the light behind you hits her like square in the face. And you see that she's not full of anger or rage, but just it's pure desperation, pleading. And her eyes, those emerald eyes are wide, and they're in that stage before grief, in that stage of bargaining, of desperate bargaining. And Cove says, "Look, I know, Lumièra, that you feel the same way that I do about what we did, what I would like us to keep doing back at the Syndicate. I know we hooked up that one time a long time ago, but what we have now, it's not like that. It's not... I need it, Lumièra. I need to just hold you. And I need you to just hold me. And I need to just keep lying in bed with you. You're the only one that's ever seen me cry like that. And I'm the only one that's ever seen you cry like that."
And I think Lumièra just kind of slumps and takes a deep, deep shuddering breath because she's right. Cove and Lumièra found a home within each other in their grief. There was no words that ever needed to be spoken. There was no pretenses. It was just healing, question mark, together. She's grateful for that. That put her here. But just like how here in Inferno, Lumièra had to re-find herself, her purpose, her worth, Cove has to do the same. Without me, just like I did. So, Lumièra chokes up a bit, but she stands firm. What we have had for each other now will never be taken for granted. You were there for me when I needed you most, and I was there for you. But Inferno showed me I am so much more than my grief. So much more than my loss. I had to find that myself. I want you to find that too. For yourself.
No, Lumièra, wait, Lumièra, wait. Please.
Don't make this harder.
Please, no, Lumièra, please.
Please.
Don't go, please, I'm begging you, please don't go, please don't abandon me. Please don't leave me like Sing did, please. I'll change Fate's mind, I'll beg her. I'll get on my fucking hands and my knees and I'll kiss her feet. Please, Lumièra, don't do this to me. I need you,
so
please.
Sorry. I'm so sorry.
Cove gets down on her knees in front of you. A loyal and desperate knight. She bows her head in front of you as her words keep pouring out. You are the only one who understands. I can't find what you did here without you. I need you.
Yes, you can. Because I believe in you.
No one else understands. It's you. It's you, Lumièra. You're the only one who knows what it's like to have loved the chosen one like that, and to have lost her. And I'm not strong enough.
You are one of the strongest people I know.
Don't say that. Don't say that, Lumièra.
Lumièra wipes her face, steels herself. One last pleading look in Cove's eyes. I am so sorry.
Wait.
Liminal.
Okay. That is going...
Run.
You're gonna have to channel for that.
Yeah. Six.
Okay. You're trying to trap Cove in here so you can go, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So it is your time magic, Lumièra. You've got it back. But it is still a kind of power, a calling that is so incredibly powerful, has so many costs, demands so much from you and from the world around you. I need you to mark 2 thirst as you channel, no matter the result of this.
Fair enough.
Yeah, you feel that stirring of hunger, that consequence twisting up inside you, and then a liminal forms around Cove. She's in the middle of reaching one sharpened clawed hand up toward over her heart in the middle of this gesture, and then she freezes, suspended in the midst of clockwork gears swirling in this golden orb. And you see those desperate eyes looking up at you. This gesture that she's frozen in. You turn, and you start to go. Xainan. You are running like hell through the streets of Inferno, and Naeem Zoran is hot on your heels.
Xainan spent all of his time here in Inferno growing roots. You know, he's a farmer. And he learns the streets, he learned the alleyways, he learned the rooftops of Inferno. And so, as he runs, this farmer pulls at the roots that he knows so well. And as he does, he flips that beautiful feather given to him and puts it in his hat. And you can hear behind him, though, almost like the gentle tinkling of bells. Little beads of gold, ting, 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 falling on the ground as he can feel that tension, not only in the air, but he knows that Naeem is behind him. And every single one that falls, a bullet that splashes onto the ground in molten gold before melting away. He's just waiting.
Xainan, you run, dribbling golden blood through the cracks of your skin onto the concrete streets of Inferno. You make a turn, and your feet instinctually guide you to a familiar place, Restaurant Row. You see wide, bustling boulevards packed with bars, pubs, grills, smokehouses, seafood restaurants, hot pot restaurants. If you can eat it, it's here. There are food trucks on every corner, pedestrians, outdoor seating. This place is alive, it's buzzing, and Naeem Zoran is still hot on your heels. And they shout over the talking and bustling crowd, Xainan! Xainan, come on!
Xainan stops and steps into the street to face Naeem. You should just let us go. You shouldn't do this.
Xainan Esch and Naeem also steps into the street facing you. The two of you are 10 feet apart, and occasionally pedestrians step between the two of you, but all you have are eyes for each other. What are you talking about? What is this? You firing from the hip again? Getting cold feet? Everything was fine, and...
Naeem, this is so much more complicated. If we go back, I will lose them.
We talked about this, Esh. We're figuring it out. We'll talk to the patron saint.
I'm sorry. That isn't how it's gonna work. If we go back, you might want to change. But fate, you know, the journey is set by fate's vision, by fate's understanding of it. It is fate's will. You could want to change. But even the patron saints might want to change. But fate can't. And I won't lose them.
Is it Xainan? Where's this coming from?
There was a interception. It's hard to explain, but we were told. I need you to trust me. I need you to just let us go.
Trust you in this moment. Xainan, you are the definition of breaking trust right now. Kissing me and then your strike team member tackling us to the ground. I thought we were building something together. I thought we were coming to a mutual understanding. Now you're pulling this out of nowhere.
I'm so sorry, Naeem. I wanted it to work. I wanted to go back with you, but... And as he says that molten gold flows out into his hand and begins to just kind of ebb in a longer and longer shape until just hovering over his fingers is the almost formed gun.
You serious, Zai? You want to do this? Here,
I
now.
have to take Nova with me. We have to go. We cannot go back to Trans.
Fine. But you don't get to just run away from me, Xainan. If you're gonna try to run, you owe me a fair fight. If nothing else. You don't get to just flee without a word. So don't you take that gun, turn tail, and... Well, I want to fight you. How about that, Xainan? I want to spar you. Right here, right now.
Fine. And as he says that, the gun solidifies in his hand.
Naeem twists his head from one side to the other, rolling his shoulders back, and you sense it, the red river around Naeem's Zeran tensing. And the hems of his trousers begin to ripple as he reaches into his jacket pocket and pulls out an ink brush, a beautiful ink brush that one might use for high-level calligraphy. And using one end of it, not the end with the brush, but the other end, there's a kind of sharp golden blade. They quickly nick themselves on the palm of one hand, and in the same deft motion, the hand holding the ink brush dips into the folds of their jacket again and pull out 4 sutra papers, 4 prayer papers. And with the blood, they dip the brush in and they write with a single hand characters on each prayer paper without even looking at the surface. And you can smell the blood of Naeem Zeran, of your Naeem, from across the way, and it stirs a thirst inside of you, Xainan.
Xainan's eyes flash the green and gold to a bright moonlight for a moment as he smells this blood. But just as Naeem is skilled in their craft, so is Xainan Esch, and the gun he flips, pulls the rod back and pushes 3 bullets, one, and then closes it and holds the other 2 in his hand. All right. You want to fight? I go. But only if you can make me.
I have no delusions about what I can and can't do, Xainan, but I'm very certain I'm going to beat you. Right here and right now. And when I do, you owe me an actual conversation about all of this. You owe me the chance to state my case so you can come back home to the Syndicate. And if you beat me, I'll let you go.
Xainan falters, that gun also wavering in its form. He does owe Naeem that conversation. He thinks of the home, not just the one here and the smell of the food around them, but Naeem's balcony, that intimate kiss, long nights holding each other, talking, breathing in each other, and that smell of Naeem just sort of pulls him out, and a bullet falls away, molten, onto the ground in his hand. Let's go! And he pulls himself back and raises the rifle.
At the exact same time, Naeem flings all 4 sutra papers toward you as though they were bladed poker cards. And even though they're like whispery kind of like rice paper, they fly forward as though they were made of steel. All 4 of them toward you.
Xainan's gonna try and shoot at least one of them out of the air.
Okay, sounds good. What skill is that?
I'm gonna say hunt.
Okay, that makes sense. Yep.
All right. And
Go for it.
I am going to push myself.
Okay.
To do my sharpshooter shot. And I will use it to disarm Naeem.
Okay.
That is double sixes.
Oh my god! That's a crit! Okay! So, Xainan, in that moment, you are instantly transported back in time to a memory of you and Naeem Zoran sparring in the training halls at Trans. You, Xainan, you don't spar often at all, but when you do, it's with Naeem. And there are many times in which you've shot his prayer papers out of the air as though they were clay pigeons, training your aim. He'd throw a bunch up at you and you one at a time. So how do you avoid taking any injury or having any of these prayer papers land on you and disarm Naeem at the same time?
Xainan knows how Naeem throws. And he calculates not just the trajectory based on how he throws, but he also knows Inferno. And he knows how to draw on the deep well of vampiric ability. And he shoots faster than normal. I think faster than Naeem was ready for, because Xainan has been a vampire for months now, or for at least weeks. And so he shoots before the papers could even spray away from Naeem, and he shoots towards his beloved Naeem Zoran, not to harm him, but just to fling that pen away.
Yeah, there's an explosion of bright gold at that impact point between the brush and the bullet, and the brush is flung out of his hand and it clatters somewhere into the crowd. And from the residual energy of that, Naeem's hand also flies backward as though it got pegged by a stone. And at the same time, all 4 prayer papers, you're also shooting 1 bullet per, right, toward each of them. Yeah. They explode in a small firework of bright, bloody fire, and the ashes fall down. It's almost like pop, 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 almost like a flashbang in front of your eyes, actually. And they fall into this kind of loose, ashen, bloody circle on the ground in front of you. And as you're your eyes go wide from the pop, 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 you hear Naeem let out a as he reels from the hand going back. Xainan, I have always known that you have had your doubts about fate, about her will. But it is her will that keeps us from oblivion.
Listen, you're not gonna like this, but what if they're not so different? Oblivion and fate. This place is made by the will of not only fate, but that thirst that you feel, the one that I feel when I look at you, that ain't fate.
Naeem Zoran reaches into his jacket pocket and pulls out a second brush. He twirls it above his fingers. He's well armed. He's not gonna just carry 1 brush. Twirls it above his fingers and cocks his head in your direction, that silver birthmark between his brow furrowing. You're wrong, Xainan. Fate and oblivion. No 2 precepts are more opposed. She is everything. And it is nothing. There's nothing there, Xainan. It's not even hunger, it's just void. You know this better than anyone. I know this better than anyone. I saw it take my world.
What about the Wild Sea?
What about the Wild Sea?
The Twilight Guard planted a seed so deep that it destroyed the world that was there before. Those plants exploded in 3 days from a seed planted by the Twilight Guard. And Xainan begins to step forward, pressing the matter.
Naeem dips the brush into the palm of his hand again and swirls blood as though it were an inkwell, at the same time reaching in for more sutra papers. And as you step forward, he says, people in the Wild Sea, before that seed sprouted, Xainan, they were already suffering. That apocalypse that you think the Twilight Guard wrought on that world, it wasn't the doing of those agents. All they did was plant the seed. The seed chose to grow, chose to sprout in the way that it did. And besides, if it hadn't, there would have been no Ombergen. there would have been no Abasi. There would have been no Suhyun or any of those people you told me about. Sometimes old ways must be destroyed for new growth to take root.
And Xainan thinks about all the faces of everyone, not just from the Wild Sea, but from the City of Heaven, from Inferno, from Keseki. All the people that he has lost, all the people who have lost. But then he also sees Naeem, he sees Nova, he sees Sing. He sees a patron saint holding him at her hip. People he would never have met without that. And that seed sits deep in him. Fine. Yeah. That doesn't change that. And Xainan's gun melts as he steps forward. He tries to close his eyes to will it back into form, but he looks at Naeem right there. I'm sorry. And the gun reforms, galvanized as he remembers those faces, especially Nova's. He would lose Seir if they went back to trans, and that is why this fight is even happening. I can't. This has to end. I have to leave with them. That's it. And he steps forward further.
Naeem draws 4 more characters without looking on the sutra paper and brandishes them, fans them out like playing cards once again between each of his fingers. And you know I can't just let you go that easy, Xainan.
I'm sorry. I really am, Naeem. And Xainan raises his gun to try and stop the next volley.
And Naeem Zaran raises those 4 sutra papers ready in response and flings them at you. As the sutra papers through the air in your direction, I'm going to have Naeem roll this time.
Oh God.
As Naeem's dark gift rears its head. It is the gift of the ghost. You see, Naeem Zaran is highly, highly attuned to spiritual activity, to the extent that they can sense the presence of any ghost within a 1-block radius of Inferno, and you, Xainan Esch, for the purposes of this fight, I'm going to count you as a ghost. So he gets an additional die to all rolls made against ghosts or ghost-like entities.
Sure,
I'm going to have him channel. That is a 6. So why don't you roll 1d4 for me to choose for yourself which of the 4 prayer papers lands on you.
That is a 2.
That is a 2. Okay, so describe to me what it looks like as you're able to blow 3 of these papers out of the air, but not the 4th.
Xainan was ready for this, and he is so at odds with himself that he doesn't shoot as fast as the last time. And he fires 1-2 shots very quickly, and then the third, the bullet won't form all the way, and he has to reground himself before he manages to fire off the third shot, not fast enough to catch the last one.
Yes, 3 of the papers ignite in bloody flame and fall into that ashen circle between the 2 of you once more, but the 4th one gets past your defenses, and where does it stick on your body?
I think it gets him right square in the sternum.
I love it. Okay, there are 2 characters written on this. Xiagui, as it sticks onto your shoulder, and you kneel is the command from the paper. You drop to your knees.
Xainan does.
The sigil is seared into your flesh through your coat. It burns you. It doesn't hurt you that much, but it is when you feel the blood and the fire, a strange kind of adrenaline surging through you as you feel this pain, and Naeem slowly steps toward you.
Xainan flashes a fang, smiling just a little.
Xainan, listen to me, okay? I know you have your feelings about the Wild Sea. I know you have your feelings about fate's will. But it's like I told you back at the art gallery. When we follow fate's will, we stave off oblivion. That's the end goal of all of this, to avoid an end goal. And this place, Inferno, can't you see that you're doing the same thing here that you accuse the Twilight Guard of having done back on the Wild Sea? You've planted your own seed here, not with fate's will or any assurance that this was the right path, but with your own hand, your own choices. I've seen it. And this means you have no idea what's going to sprout here after you leave. Maybe something beautiful. Maybe the pessimist in me will be proven incorrect. And something gorgeous will bloom. But maybe something terrible will bloom too. Destruction. Doom. Maybe oblivion will come for this place. And it's all because of you.
Faster than the roots of the Wild Sea, that seed that Naeem planted bursts inside of Xainan as he looks around at a city so alive in its undeath. And he wonders what they made under that archway. Naeem, this isn't about... I was wrong when I said they weren't my kids. If we go back, Seir's gonna die.
I can't lose you, Xainan. You can't just... There has to be a way forward. There must be a way forward. But we won't be able to find that way unless you come back to the Syndicate.
We had to let this place choose. Let them craft their own way through the journey. I know that it's dangerous. I hear you. But what if oblivion isn't so bad?
What? And on that shock, you feel that prayer paper flutter to ash away, and that pressure exuding you, pushing you down onto your knees, it lifts from your body in that gap. Naeem takes a step back.
He just kind of falls further. I'm leaving this place with them. I wish it were different.
How could you say that about oblivion? When you know what it did to me, did to my family, did to my world, did to your family, did to your world.
Wait, let us
Get on
die.
your feet, Xainan, and say it to my face.
He does, and he closes the gap quickly if Naeem lets him between them.
Okay, as you come toward him, what words are springing from your mouth?
I love you. You have been my home. I would go with you. I would.
And Xainan, on that final word from you, I would, your foot steps forward to close the gap between you and Naeem, and it steps into the center of that bloody, ashen circle that this entire time, Naeem, with those fallen sutra papers, has formed. And as it does, you fall Instantly, your body crumples to the ground, and yet, at the same time, Xainan, you remain standing. Or rather, your ghost remains standing, as your body is laid out flat on the ground. You are face to face with Naim Zeron, the spirit mage. And we're gonna cut it right there. We're gonna be back in just about 10 minutes. Enjoy the fan art reel, and I cannot wait for the back half of our finale stream. Howdy, transplanters! You know what time it is. It's sponsor Connie time with a word from Hero Forge. Hero Forge has officially leveled up with kit bashing. When you become a pro member, you can place up to 20 more items anywhere on one of your blorbos with their own independent scaling, rotation, and movement. You can make your character look exactly as they should, even if the specific clothing or accessory option isn't available at the base level. You just have to get a little creative. And because I love you, transplanters, here's a special sneak peek at a kit bashed version of Oblivion. Just look at those wings and that base. This would not be possible without the power of kit bashing. The combinations are literally endless, and you can print your kit bashed blorbos as plastic minis, standees, digital STL files, or even Hero Forge's brand new color statuettes. Color statuettes are twice the size of a regular mini, and just look at this. I mean, look at how massive this is, and especially in comparison to a regular mini, you can really get into all the nooks and crannies and details that wouldn't be as apparent on a regular sized mini. Just look at how Oblivion dwarfs Oka here. And also, if you're a GM, consider busting out one of these bad boys during a boss fight to really get your players shaking in their boots. Oblivion agrees. Unlock the true power of Hero Forge with a Hero Forge Pro subscription starting at $3.99 a month. Get in there and start creating at bit.ly/transforge. Now, let's get back to the show. Or more likely, just more of the waiting room. Trust in her will.